Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion. It's a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I am the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
What is up, boo-boo?
Nothing. What is up with you?
Well, you know, it's been, people were asking me, how was your week? You know, so that would be last week if you're listening to this. And, well, Jimmy was preaching, so I was able to, focus on some upcoming teaching that I got to do. It was good. The weekend was actually very chill for me. It was actually really nice. I had a good week, you know.
I'm glad to hear that.
Felt good. Saturday in particular. We had no elders meeting.
Yes. Saturday was
nothing going on.
And you know what? And we decided, because, hold on. Joe was doing me a great favor. So typically we record
on
Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And I said, Joey, I'm preaching this week. It would really help me if I could, if we record on Sunday, because Saturday morning I could finish my sermon, and then in the afternoon I could spend time with the family.
I'm sorry, what was that?
What?
Okay, in the afternoon you could what?
Spend time with the family.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sleep in the sun.
There you go.
Where I could sleep in the sun. And can you do me that? That's solid. And Joey did. Thank you, Joey.
Well, yeah, it's no problem. You know, Sunday's fun day. I didn't have anything going on. By the way, when I sent you the notes for this, I sent it to Jen.
Oh, why'd you send it to Jen?
I don't know. I said the wrong thing. She just sent me a question mark. She said question mark, and I'm like, sorry, it was meant for Jimmy. Okay, so yeah, good week, good Sunday, a good weekend, and man, I'm so
probably one of the best Sundays ever.
I gotta say.
Probably.
Oh, how was first service? How was the attendance in first service? I wasn't there. When Jimmy preaches, by the way, he handles everything that I normally do.
Yeah, so you don't have to do anything.
So I don't do the prayer of confession or communion.
Yeah, that's how you do it, associates. I just want you to understand
hey,
something.
Dummies.
Yeah, listen. If you're going to take the message, take everything else so that the lead pastor can enjoy without any responsibilities.
And guess who needs the reps? Like, if you're an associate, you probably need the reps.
I'm just doing a favor.
Jimmy don't need the reps, okay? Jimmy sets the bar on reps for all you other suckers.
Boom. And I need the reps.
Yeah. No, man, it was really good.
So no, first service was good. I'm trying to think.
Because we got rid of our mask policy.
We did, but did you notice? I don't think we increased capacity. That's the one thing I don't know. I was confused on Slack.
Yeah, I was confused.
So it definitely felt. I do wonder if people that normally go to the 9 went to the 11 because we had the picnic.
Yeah,
so it felt a little bit emptier, but I don't know. It wasn't like scarce or sparse.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool, man. So I'll tell you what, man. I am super excited for Monday, for tomorrow. When we're recording on Sunday. So for this week, I'm really excited because I've been doing some new things. I've been trying some new things. I've been.
Can we talk about it?
I've been working.
I'm not talking about it. So you haven't given me permission. I'm not like you. I'm not an overshare. And I went and looked to see if we had an elders meeting tomorrow night. We don't.
Ooh.
But I thought I heard Jeff earlier today, like, I'm going to ask the elders tomorrow night at the meeting. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, but Jeff's like me. Jeff don't know.
Because if there's an elders meeting, I will not be making it.
Yeah, why not?
I have a prior engagement.
Oh, okay.
It is.
There's nothing on the calendar. There's nothing on the calendar.
I didn't do it on Monday's episode. I should have done it on Monday's episode. It's Greg's birthday.
Oh.
So we're going
Where are we going?
Top Golf.
Oh.
And it's also Paige's birthday.
Can we smoke at Top Golf?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not invited anyways, but I was just curious, if I was going.
I know when you kept saying we, I was like, this is. So
I know I'm not invited.
I was like, I better
fine.
text Allison. Greg, Joey says he's coming.
I don't want to go anyways, man. I don't want to go where I'm not wanted.
No, you're always wanted.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yep.
Since you know so much, why don't you tell us why God loves the poor?
Well, all right, I'm going to go ahead and read this question. So, okay, we're doing mailbag, apparently.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we got a few questions here.
We're going to go with first names, I think, for pretty much all of these, just to keep it safe.
Okay. So, David.
Odell.
So, David, right. God's heart is toward the poor, ? Message. The episode, Does God Love Everyone?, brought to mind something I hear said often, that God's heart is toward the poor. It's often used to try to motivate social justice or sometimes to shame the way some ministries spend money. I never hear anyone articulate what exactly that means. Or, yeah, do poor people have some special dispensation? Oh, I already know where this guy's at. Where God doesn't hate their sin.
No, he's not there. He's asking about this perspective.
Yeah, he believes in dispensationalism.
Odell.
David uses that word. See, David dispensationalist.
Mm-hmm.
Dispensational David.
Odellianism.
Where God doesn't hate their sin, they aren't under wrath. I grew up poor. Our neighborhood earned the nickname Felony Flats. First of all, that's a brilliant name.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's his.
I think,
but that's so clever.
Felony,
I don't believe it.
And nobody. Okay, go ahead.
But but you know that's a white neighborhood.
Yeah, that Felony Flats is a white neighborhood on a CW show. Go ahead.
Most, not all of the people I encountered were drug addicts, alcoholics, and thieves.
Yes.
I could fill volumes with stories of violence, abuse of women and children, sexual abuse, rape, even murder. Now, don't you feel bad? In what way is God's heart toward the poor, and does the Bible even mean the same thing we do when we use the word? Love the podcast, David.
Actually, he signed it Odell.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you said his name already.
Yeah, no, I knew I could say his last name. First of all, David, we're joking with you because you're a listener. We love you. You're part of the family. That's why we bust your chops. Thank you for the question.
But I love Felony Flats.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Felony Flats. And it was like the first draft of Daredevil. They were going to call a section Felony Flats, and they realized it's a little too on the nose. Couldn't quite call it Felony Flats. It was just a little too obvious.
See, here's the thing. I actually don't know if I could believe you. Is that true?
No, of course not. But it is too obvious. You would a good nickname wouldn't call it Felony Flats. It would just be the Flats, right? Which is super generic. Or they would be called F Flats. It'd be something else, not so obvious. But anyways, I'm just picking on it from a storytelling perspective. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, the Bible does speak in a number of different passages about the gospel being preached to the poor, about God having a heart towards the poor. And I do think it is used by some particular people or groups to try to push a particular agenda. I think here's all you need to know. Number one, it does emphasize that God is compassionate.
Yes.
God is a compassionate God. He cares when people are hurting or suffering. And so poverty is a consequence of the fall. It's the idea
because of the toil, working with the ground being hard. Is that
it means things don't work the way they're supposed to. So you're not going to have what you need to survive. I'm talking about real poverty here, okay? I'm not talking about oh man, I couldn't pay the payment on my Lexus that I bought because I took out too big of a loan. I'm not talking about real poverty, like I can't pay rent.
Like Felony Flats.
Like the Felony Flats, right? We're like, hey, people are dying. There's drug abuse. There's all kinds of real problems. So, poverty is a real problem, and God is compassionate. So when this starts to come up, make sure that you're not dismissing it. Make sure that you're saying, okay, God is compassionate towards his creation. He loves what he has made, and sin is grievous. And one of the manifestations of sin is the reality of poverty. I think that's fair to say.
And I think another thing is that's fair to say is that the poor are often associated with the people of God, right? And I think even Jesus talks about it's harder for the rich man to go through, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of that's because for a poor individual, they're much more readily accepting of a gospel where you bring nothing.
Yeah, because they have nothing.
Right? Like it's good news that they're hearing that despite their situation, there is a God who loves them, creates them, that they're beautifully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
Right? There's a dignity that is brought with it.
Mm-hmm.
Where the church as ambassadors, as witnesses, should be also, embracing and talking about the dignity due upon them, right?
Right, totally.
As image bearers. But the poor are often associated with God's people because they're much more readily available. They're quick to grab on.
Well, yeah, it's like anything. Like before a lot of us get help, we have to hit rock bottom, we say, right? It's, you know what? There's a whole lot of padding at the bottom for a person who has money because there's a lot of cushions that you can lay down so you don't feel that rock. Mm-hmm. And when those things are stripped away, that's when you realize, you know what? I can't trust in my riches. I can't trust in my success. I can't trust in anything but the Lord. And I would say also with this that while there are certainly examples of wealthy people in the Bible, much of the time, what we learned about Christians is that they were not like anything to be made much of. Like Christians were a lot like Jesus. Like, ain't nothing special to look at. Like, who are you guys? You guys you are the things that are not, and you are shaming the things that are, like out of 1 Corinthians. So, yes, take away, God is compassionate. Take into this that, like Jimmy said, the poor are oftentimes associated with the people of God because they are oftentimes poor.
In spirit, yeah.
Not always. Well, in spirit, like, is another thing, right? Because the worldly poverty that we do see as a consequence of the fall is sometimes used to highlight a spiritual kind of poverty. So this is when, like, Jesus says, blessed are the poor in spirit, right? And so, when he says, blessed are the poor, like you read that in Luke and then in Matthew, it's poor in spirit. Why is there a change up there? Why is there some sort of a difference in the way that it's worded? And one is probably shedding light on the former, right? To be poor in spirit is really the meaning that Jesus was going for. He's not necessarily saying you're blessed if you're poor, like economically. He's saying, like, listen, you are blessed. The favor of God rests upon you when you recognize that you are spiritually poor, that you have
you are
nothing.
Spiritually bankrupt.
Yeah, you have nothing. Like your best gifts, your best abilities, all that stuff doesn't amount. It doesn't amount to anything. It doesn't move the needle of God's heart. Like, you don't have anything to make you attractive to God. You have nothing to bargain with or barter with. God sees you and could justly condemn you, but he chooses to love you. And it's only the person who is poor in spirit who has faith ultimately in that gift that is offered to the undeserving. So does God love the poor? Well, yeah, God loves everybody. I don't think he has a special love for the poor. I think he has compassion on the poor, like he has compassion on people who are hurting in a variety of ways. He's compassionate. Yeah. Jesus is compassionate, and we should be too. And so, yeah, there are some implications for us. Don't be hard-hearted towards the poor. Don't assume that you know them. Don't assume that you know their story. And a guy.
Don't assume when you give a gift they're going to go, blow it on alcohol
or weed.
Yeah,
or some other legal substance.
Yeah.
Because it's all legal now here.
Yeah.
But really, like you don't know. You don't know. And it's like, and a guy like David knows this because he grew up in the hood, apparently. He understands, hey, listen, there's all kinds of people in the hood. And there are bad guys, there are good guys, but one thing they all got in common is no money. They're poor. And God is compassionate towards that.
Thanks, David, for writing in. Now, Joe.
Yeah.
What about this one from
Cassie?
All
right. So she says, sharing the gospel with a Christian. Her message title is Hi Guys.
Hi Guys.
With SZS.
SZS.
Cassie. No, we're in America, bro. Don't say Z.
What?
We're in America. We say Z, not Z.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I still
be contextual.
U's. I still add U's to like color.
Anyways. Cassie from Colorado. She says, thank you for your diligence in producing the show.
You're welcome.
I'm a listener of about 4 years. Woo, she's OG, and have been blessed greatly through your podcast. I got to get with those banter of truth times. A question that has been heavy on my heart for quite some time is this. How can I effectively share the gospel with a friend that grew up heavily involved in the church from a young age and continues to serve and attend faithfully? However, they do not seem to have any affection for Christ nor desire for his true lordship over their life, only emotional fulfillment alone. Only and alone makes it a redundant statement. Cassie, you could just use one of those. Anyways, I am constantly praying for this person and was even able to share the gospel using the Share Jesus Without Fear method. How can I continue to be faithful to Christ in this friendship in addition to praying and fasting? Is it appropriate to ask point blank if they understand their sin before God and their need for redemption through Christ? What types of seeds can I plant? Thanks a bunch. Appreciate you and wondering if it might be unladylike to take up cigars.
No.
LOL. You guys take care, and may you be surrounded by the grace of and love of our Lord Jesus Christ. Peace. All right, let's do the easy one first. The easy question.
So hold on. I'm going to say this, though.
Yeah.
All right. We don't know this individual.
Don't know her.
But you know what I love? She didn't say whether it was a male or female. I was trying to see if her friend was a male or female. Yeah. She was intentional.
Yeah.
She was well done. Well done. Because I'm like, is this a flirt to convert? What's going on here? Who's this individual?
Yeah, it's a friend who grew up heavily involved. So they do not seem to have. They are their pronouns, or are you just trying to keep it nondescript?
She's keeping it nondescript.
That's right.
And you know what? Well done. You are not an oversharer like Joe Thorne.
She's not praying for him or her. She's praying for this person. Which means it's a dude.
No,
So
it might
anyway,
not.
that's what it means, guys.
No, it
It's a
might be.
dude. It's a
Maybe her friend might hear the
Bro-ham.
podcast at one point,
Yep,
and she
okay.
just wants to make sure that they don't,
Listen, even if he does hear the podcast,
or her,
okay, if he hears the podcast,
her.
they will know that you're asking because you actually care about them. You're a good friend.
That's
Cassie.
right. Great
You
friend.
are a good friend. So first of all, the easy question is: it is not unladylike to smoke a cigar. In
No.
fact, I'll tell you what. And you go into a cigar shop, pretty much anywhere in the country, and you go in there and smoke a cigar and hang out with the guys, you will be the belle of the ball. Everybody's going to love hanging out with you because it is different. There's just not a lot of ladies. And so anytime a lady is cool enough to just come in and hang out and smoke and talk about whatever, politics, art, news, doesn't matter what it is, man, like it's just cool. And there might be a creepy guy in there, but most of the guys that you're going to run into are just super cool and they think it's great. So don't worry about it. Not unladylike, like super cool. Yeah, that's the easy one. All right.
All right. Yeah, that's the easy one. All right, move on.
How are you going to get in to a gospel conversation with this person? So apparently you're drawing the conclusion. We don't know if you're right. We're going to assume that you're right. This is a person who's been in church their whole life, and they seem to affirm Christianity and the gospel, but they don't have real affection. You're concerned that they don't have real faith is the issue. In my experience, then there's a couple of things. One is to be sharing what you are learning. Like this is a soft level sort of approach. You start to share, hey, here's what God's teaching me. God's reminding me of this. And you start to legitimately share what God is teaching you about the gospel, about your dependency on Christ, about your relationship with the Lord, about whatever it is. And just by sharing what you are learning, what God is teaching you, you get to communicate that to them, and then they can benefit from it. In terms of soft and easy approaches, that's got to be it. That's the easiest. That's the easiest level. On another level, though, if they are a real friend, if you actually have a relationship, then
Which I'm sure they do.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do.
Then there's nothing wrong with you saying, "Hey, man, talk to me about your
girl."
Yeah, but "hey, man" is a colloquialism.
Yeah,
Like girls call girls bro. Girls call girls bro.
I'm just saying.
It's a colloquialism.
Or girl. Yeah.
But hey, man.
A man or a woman.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Whatever. You just say, hey, you can share about where you're at, what you're going through, what you're struggling with. That might be a good segue. Hey, I'm struggling with this right now. How are you doing? What's going on with your spiritual life? What's your relationship with the Lord like? And I don't mean like, are you going to church or whatever? I mean like what is your relationship with
This
Christ
is not
like?
like a Trojan horse, right?
No,
like
it's a legit question.
It's a legit question. It's not a Trojan horse. You're not trying to goad them in. But I think, as Joe said, you guys are obviously close. Like you have a love and affection for your friend, and so I think it's like I asked Joe. I have a love and affection for Joe. I will
You have
ask
a funny
Joe.
way of showing it.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask Joe. Wait, don't throw me off like that. Like, come on. Why would you say that to me?
Why would you treat me
that?
the way you treat me? I don't know.
treat you well.
Oh yeah.
I treat
So
all
why don't you
my wives well.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't have your pants on right now. You're sitting in the office.
Stop.
There's no context for that comment.
I know. So why would you say something that was so crazy?
Hopefully
like
they
that?
learned it from one of the other episodes.
I'm just saying, why would you say something so crazy?
Why would you do something so crazy?
All I'm asking is, this is pretty nutty of you. And I'm going to continue and say that you obviously have this effect. And I have a love and affection for Joe. And I'll ask Joe.
Stuff, but okay.
Oh my gosh, I do.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Why are you doing this right now?
Where's my invitation to Topgolf?
That's not my birthday.
But you're going.
Of course. I was invited to a birthday party.
And your plus one is me.
My wife.
Oh, stop it.
My plus one is my wife.
Whatever.
Anyways. So I have this love and affection for Joe, and it's waning.
Understandable.
But I'll ask him, like, hey, how are things going? Right?
You just did. You legit just did in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Ask me how things were going before we started recording.
Of course. Because I'm invested. I care. I'm praying, right?
It's for the podcast.
It's not for the. I've never shared those things.
No, I mean you're invested in the podcast. If there's you want the podcast.
And sometimes your friends just assume the worst of you. I don't know how else to word it than that. But it's okay to ask those questions.
And I'm not offended. Like
no, you
I
never
want
are.
him to, like I'm like, oh wow, that person. Like you follow up with somebody who said, hey, pray for this, or if you notice something and you go back. Most people, not everybody, or most people are like, hey, thanks, man. That means a lot.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. So some of us, like me, like I'm an introvert and I don't like initiating stuff. Like I had to learn the hard way. Like follow up on somebody. If you haven't seen somebody in a while, say, hey man, how are you doing? I missed you. And like I would be afraid they're going to think I'm chastising them for not being somewhere or not reaching out to me. But what they really genuinely hear is, oh wow, they actually care. They noticed.
Exactly. That's what people want. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
So I think in terms of, how do you evangelize a person who's been Christian? There's a lot of ways to do it. A lot of people that are raised in the church, sometimes it's a book or a sermon. There's a book, like one of John Piper's sermons has been famously used to convert a ton of people that grew up in the church. It's just led to tons of people getting converted. Milton Vincent has a book, a gospel primer for Christians. Get homeboy or homegirl that book and just lay it on them, because it's such an amazing, tiny little book, super powerful, sort of like me. And it's got both poetry in it, and it's got prose in it or whatever. It's got a good balance. Man, great book. Might be a good thing to do. Maybe get something like that and say, hey, why don't we read this together? That'd be fun. Yeah. I'm trying to find somebody, and you're being honest. Like, hey, I would like to read this book with somebody. I'd like to read it with you. That'd be cool.
Good. I like it. Yeah,
it's
really good.
All right.
Let's see.
We got, what about Bible study time, Jimmy?
Here we go. Jordan says, hey guys, how do you put it?
I apostrophe M.
So I'm very grateful for your ministry and laughs offered through this. All right, now I kind of feel bad.
No, that's what he wanted.
No, because Nicholas, look at Nicholas he might be for somewhere else. So I'm very grateful for your ministry and the laughs offered through this podcast and the podcast itself. God has really shown me a lot of what's going on in my heart through your biblical wisdom.
We do have a lot of
Jordan, that's wisdom. Very kind of you to
say.
And
very insightful for you to see how much wisdom we possess.
No, but thank you, Jordan. That was very
you
nice.
Are correct.
I wanted to ask for some practical advice on Bible study and time management. I've listened to your episodes on the ransom method and want to see if you had any applications to an early riser Monday to Friday work week.
Mm-hmm.
I've struggled to implement time with God while wedding planning, group nights, therapy, and family time. Well, you got a full load.
He busy.
I'm about to say, Jay, you got a full load, bro. Yeah. Wedding planning, wait, what are you doing for the wedding planning though? You're just supposed to show up.
Maybe, yeah, but listen, maybe he's very involved. Not like you. Not like you. Maybe he cared.
Were you involved?
Yes.
Oh.
I said no to the ice sculpture.
That was your one
level.
thing?
I was like, yes, dear. And then she was like, what about the ice sculpture? I'm like, no, we're not doing that. All right.
Wedding planning, group nights. So probably like Bible study.
Yeah.
Therapy and family time.
So therapy is probably personal therapy, like mental health therapy, good stuff.
And family time.
Yep.
Yeah,
all that takes a lot.
That's
a lot on top of your just work.
No, listen, Jordan's got a lot going on. Mad props.
And let's say this. Some people have more flexible time for devotional practices than other people. That does happen. So sometimes some people are very heavy overloaded, and that might be you. Jimmy, what's your advice?
Practical advice on Bible study and time management. So we've talked about this in the past, and I think it's good to reiterate. I find personally setting that time. So if you're an early riser, as you said, I think you said for an early riser Monday to Friday work week, get up earlier. That's my biggest thing is I would say, get up earlier for another 10, 15 minutes and do kind of that study.
So it doesn't have to be like an hour earlier. It doesn't have to be like an hour and a half earlier.
I don't think so. I would say if you're going to do your study and you listen, you could do the ransom study method 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's all the extra time you need.
Tell you what, you just give yourself 10 extra minutes. If you start vibing with it,
then you can extend it.
You'll just naturally extend it.
But just start at the 10.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Something. Just
totally
something.
Agree.
And so for me, I prefer doing it in the morning. But now I'm a little bit more flexible, right? Like I'm a little bit more flexible in the sense that even though, all right, so I do a lot of European business. So
la-ti-da.
La-ti-da. And so when I wake up, the first thing I'm doing is checking all my messages from Europe.
Now, this is bad habits for like most of you. Most people do not need to be getting up and checking their messages. But because of your unique business situation, you have to do this.
I need to do it because of the time change.
Right.
So what I do is, before I get to that though, I get up and I do my personal study.
Oh, you even do your personal study before you do that?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, don't say of course, because some people might not.
No, they don't. That's fine. I know if I don't do that, then I'm not going to do it. So I find.
See, I thought you were saying that you did that first because you had to get right to it before you did your devotions. Okay, so even though you have to get up early to deal with business overseas, you get up even earlier to make sure you have time with the Lord.
And that's it, because I am so Michelle and I are different in when I'm up.
Right.
It's no warm up.
Yeah.
I don't need an hour to get into it.
Yeah.
I'm up. And so right when I get up, go take care, spend my time. Then I can go through my emails and start going through, what's going on for the day. Then I get dressed. So I'm oversharing a lot here because
no, it's helpful.
The last part of it is when I'm in my car, that time from my house to the office is my prayer time based on the study and the prayer requests that I know from. I'm praying for individuals, my list.
And you got a little more time now these days.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit longer of a
because of a little, yeah. So for me, that to me, then by the time I get to the office to start with my US stuff, I'm good to go.
You're prayed up. I know that sounds like silly, but no, it's listen, you want to be prayed up. You want to be communing with the Lord.
Yeah.
And it takes, obviously, and you know this, Jordan, it takes intentionality.
And that's just it. I'm very, very intentional.
Jimmy's a very disciplined dude in his organizational life.
Yeah. Not my snacking.
I'm not. Well, I didn't say anything about that.
Well, you're about to say obvious.
Obviously, no, I wasn't about to say obvious. I wasn't going to say anything about it. I was just saying Jimmy is very disciplined, but again, that's something that he's been working for a long time. So when Jimmy says that, it sounds easy. Let me assure you, it is not. It's not. And just because, by the way, everybody, by the way, just because somebody like Jimmy or Brian Malcolm, they are more gifted and they have strengths in these areas of organization, it's not fair to go, oh, well, that's just easy for them. And it's hard for me.
It's not.
It's not. Listen, they're better at it, but it's still the same amount of work. It's the same amount of work.
But this is why we annoy everybody else, because we know what it takes to get there. And when we see it not happening when someone's supposed to, it's just do that thing.
Yeah, just do the thing.
Just do the thing. I know you hate it. I hate it too.
Yeah, well, but it's easy for you.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. I've just learned to do it.
And again, it's okay, it's easier for an Olympic athlete to run a mile at a full sprint than it is somebody else, right? It's okay. So it's easier, but it takes just as much effort in that, they're running at a full sprint.
Yeah.
They've put in the time and the effort to train themselves. They still have to put all that energy.
Yep.
It's still a ton. In fact, it's more energy because they're doing it faster and more efficiently.
Yep.
So listen, that's something that I had to learn because I used to just be oh, well, that's just, some people are just good at that and I'm not. So there you go. And that's just really a cop out. It's a total cop out.
They've trained themselves. Yeah. They've trained themselves to do it, and they put in the time. So I think of wrestling only because
professional wrestling. Yes. Go ahead.
No, stop
it. Go.
Ric
Flair.
Woo! Woo! So I see someone like Izzy,
real wrestling,
right? He's a great wrestler, great coach. And, he sees kids and he trains kids. And his whole thing is he can help you develop it, but you have to be the one that's willing to,
totally.
And so that's the difference between kids. Some kids are
they got a motor.
No, you know what? I'm going to say it like this. I know it's a Thursday episode, but I want to put this out.
This is not a Thursday. Oh, it is. Yeah.
My brothers were a lot better than me at wrestling.
At a lot of things.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of wrestling. They were. So Dustin was a state champ a couple times, right? And
don't fight Dustin. Don't pick a fight with Dustin.
But see, here's the thing about Dirte. He was never. Sorry, we call him the Dirte.
Yeah.
Dustin was never the most technologically sound wrestler.
Technically, yeah.
No, he was never the
not technological.
No. Yeah, okay, sorry. He was never the technical wrestler. But he had heart. You could see he worked harder than everybody else. Simon was a lot more technical. So much better, but he never achieved what Dustin did because he didn't have the same heart Dustin had. Yeah. Right? And so I think we were talking about that analogy where you think some people are just born better this way. No, it's those people that are willing to work hard, and even at administration and even at being intentional.
Right.
It's those people that are willing to work hard that are going to achieve the goal.
You got to leverage what you have.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the skills, but they have heart.
Yeah.
Some people maybe they don't have it, but they have the skills. You leverage either one
Yep.
and push yourself to the best of your abilities.
That's it.
I think it's really good. So yeah, man, listen, pick a time, start small.
And don't mess with my brother, all right?
Yeah, Dustin will wreck you.
He'll half Nelson you to death.
He'll give you the dirty dirty. But you'll get it.
You don't want you don't want that. You don't want the dirty D. Like, I'm telling you now,
he will tie you in a knot and give you the dirty D.
Oh, you will just the deer tay.
You'll never recover.
No, you can't.
This is over.
I remember I was like playing around when I moved back.
Oh, really? When you moved as an adult?
As an adult, it was us three. And we're it was just us at the office, and we're just playing around. And all of a sudden, we just start wrestling.
Oh, no.
And I got whooped up. I was like, I just tapped pineapple.
Yeah.
Pineapple. Like, yeah, that's my safe word.
Yeah.
I was like, get me out of this. Get me out of this.
Wrestlers are scary. In high school, man, I wasn't afraid to fight any football. And I'm a little guy. Like, I just wasn't afraid. In general, I did not even play with a wrestler because they could legit just tie me in a knot. Like, I wouldn't. There's no. And wrestlers are tough. Even if I got a couple of good cracks on them, like pop, pop, they would just absorb that.
Yeah.
And then eat me alive. They were like, oh, they love it. Yeah.
Num.
Yeah. I ain't playing with wrestlers.
Man.
Wrestling, one of the greatest sports for kids to get into.
So I was wrestling Izzy's older brother. Yeah, Izzy's good.
Yeah.
His older brother, Nate Dogg.
No way.
Was not as good, but tough as could be.
Okay.
And I would be wrestling Nate Dogg. And as we're wrestling, he would just be like, num. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, num. I'm going to eat you alive. I'm like, I want to switch partners.
He's psyching you out, man.
He's like, num.
Yeah, I don't want to wrestle a guy that's doing that.
I don't want to
wrestle any guy who knows what he's doing. But the guy doing that, I definitely know he knows what he's doing.
No. Num.
All right, we got one last email.
All right, here we go.
This is a callback to the episode that we did.
Oh, you know what? I really like this question.
Yeah, it's a really good, and we actually got this from a bunch of you. A lot of you sent this in.
This is a really, really great question.
So the subject is Hymns and Heretics. It's an episode that we did. You can check it out, and it's all about, hey man, is it wrong to sing a song from a songwriter who has bad theology if the song itself is solid in its theology? And our basic answer was, it's fine, but you got to take other things into consideration. And for us, we will sing a Bethel song here or there because our church is so solidly theologically oriented, and our people are not wooed by the various origins of songs that we might sing. So, but listen to that for more on that. Here's the email. Hey guys. Hi guy. First off, I'm a regular listener. I absolutely love you guys. The camaraderie, the banter that you bring to important theological issues. Thank you. Secondly, I am one of those pastors that has said that we won't sing anything from Hillsong Bethel and even Elevation Worship. By the way, not a bad policy to have. It's not wrong for you to have that policy. I greatly appreciate your perspective and have gleaned much from it, but I was wondering how you would process through supporting their ministries with royalties paid through CCLI Song Select. I don't have my glasses on, so this is it is why we took the drastic turn that we did, right or wrong.
And I just wanted to see if there's something that I'm missing or possibly neglecting in our decision to do so. There's a lot of background to why I made the drastic shift as well, due to the church very much going in the direction of Hillsong Bethel prior to God calling me here. I don't believe my decision was misguided.
But he spelled it wrong.
Misguided?
No, yeah. Misguided.
But I did want to see your thoughts on the we don't believe in or want to point people to them, but we do support them with royalty scenarios. Thanks, guys, and I greatly appreciate you.
Why are you coming at us, Daniel?
No, this was fantastic.
No, Daniel, you got a bad
that's a great...
coming all passive-aggressive at us.
You're
a jerk, man. Why don't you unfollow, unsubscribe?
Joe's triggered. No, you know what? When I saw that question come by, I was reading it, and I saw it for a few people. I was like, I did not consider that perspective.
I did.
Oh,
so
I did not
talk about it.
So let's
but we didn't actually talk about it at all.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
Yeah, and the reason we didn't include it is because it's so obvious. It's such a basic thing that I thought any of our listeners would already know. But I guess we have to explain it. No, I'm just kidding. It is a fair question, and it is a good question. First of all, Pastor Daniel, you and we would agree with this, and we even said this on our podcast. your church was moving in the direction of
Yes.
Bethel Hillsong, you should not be singing Bethel
It's probably
Hillsong.
best not to. Yep.
Just kill that, right? Because you constantly have to look at the culture of your
Yes.
church, the direction
Yes.
of your church, and you have to respond accordingly.
Yep.
You want to remove all distractions and anything that would move the church in the direction of away from the truth. So sounds like you did the right thing, the thing that Jimmy would do or that I would do in that situation.
Yep. Absolutely.
In our situation, we are so upfront obvious. We use buzzwords like Calvinism and limited atonement upfront. Like we don't care. This is where we're at. So everybody knows.
Yeah.
If
you're coming here.
We're not drifting anywhere.
Nope.
Our people know what's up. So on the royalty issue, it's a really good question. And it really comes down to, is it wrong for you to spend money on things that are going to be used by people who don't know or love the Lord or are going to use these things for ungodly causes? So think like, back in the day it was, the Southern Baptists, we're going to boycott Disney. You know why? Because they have Gay Day. That's right, Gay Day at Disney, where they let all the gays come in, and it's all gay. It was like this whole thing. They were all for real. This was a thing. So there was a boycott from Disney. Of course, no real. I don't think.
No, that being said, I'm probably not going on that day. Probably.
I don't know. Is it cheaper? I don't know. Is it more expensive or cheaper? Is it the same? Is it less crowded? If the lines are
hold on.
What if the lines are
What did
short?
the Southern Baptists? What did they think of the photo of you and Steve McCoy?
Okay, so there is this photo.
There is
in
this
the
photo.
2006 Southern Baptist Convention.
Google image. You're gonna find it online.
I'll put it up. So in 2006, I used to go to all the Southern Baptist conventions. Steve McCoy, he was a pastor up here.
Gosh.
Used to go to all the Southern Baptist conventions.
This is
We drove to South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and Olin Mills was there doing family portraits and couple portraits. And so we walked up and we're like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And they're like, "Hey guys," and we're like, "Can we do a portrait?" And they were like, "This was 2006." And they were like, "Yeah." And they thought it was funny. We're like, "We'll do a couple's portrait." And so Steve and I posed as a couple in a portrait. Olin Mills thought it was very funny. Some of the other people there didn't find it as funny as we did. It somehow got...
First of all, I want you to know,
Yeah.
I think it's gold.
I do too. I'm not ashamed of it. I think it's wonderful. It has made its way through a collection of like Olin Mills' worst photos of all time. It's been circulated around the country in memes. It's wonderful. So what were we talking about?
Gay Day.
Oh, yeah. So Southern Baptists boycotted Disney because they were supportive of trans LGBTQ before that was even a thing that was called LGBTQ. They would have Gay Day. Hey, we just want to welcome gay people. This is the day where we let all the gay people come, or I don't know. It's like whatever. And so Southern
We're
Baptists...
so funny in what we boycott.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We still go to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, what?
We're not going to boycott obesity.
No. Why? Well, no, because then we'd have to boycott ourselves.
Yeah.
And that would not be good. So people are like, oh, well, doesn't Levi support this agenda, or doesn't this company support that? And so for me, it sort of all kind of equals out into the same issue. If I am purchasing a good or a resource, if I'm using something that is genuinely useful in and of itself, what they do with the money that I give to them is on them and up to them. In fact, I do think this is reflected in Scripture. You know, Paul talks about meat being sacrificed to idols.
You went there. Good.
So like in Romans 14,
Well
like
done,
1 Corinthians and all this, like, there was this issue. Like you could go and you could buy meat that was sacrificed to an idol. Now, Paul's whole point is that meat is good. That's some good meat.
That's
right
some
there.
good. That's
I
tender.
like that meat.
That's tender.
Don't worry about it. And if you're going to somebody's house and you have scruples about where they get their meat, don't ask. Shut your mouth. Enjoy that meat. Right? That's his point, right? That's what he says. In other words, you're supporting a satanic practice when you buy that meat, because they're going to take that money that you bought, that you gave them for that meat that was sacrificed to an idol. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to go sacrifice more meat to that false god. They're going to continue in their satanic ideology. What they do with their money is on them. I am not concerned about buying a product or a good from somebody who is atheist, Muslim, satanic, gay, lesbian, transgender. If they've produced something that is good and useful, then I'm okay. My conscience is clear in buying it. The caveat comes from, and Paul gets into this, if you know that somebody is struggling, then you got to take that into consideration, because what you don't want them to do, the issue is not making them uncomfortable. The issue is tempting them to do something against their conscience.
Yes.
And so I am not about to tempt somebody to go against their conscience, and I am not about to do something that's going to encourage them to go down a path of a bad theology or ungodliness. So that's why there is a contextual element to this issue. But in terms of supporting, what's the guy who he doesn't have his shirt on, and he was just like came out because he had an affair, and he's Justin Bieber's pastor, and his pants are always super low. He always wears those fake glasses.
Oh, what's his name?
Anyways, if there's a song that has come out from their church that happens to be a biblically faithful song, I don't know who wrote it. I don't know the background of it. I'm not overly concerned if a church uses it or not. What I am concerned about is the direction of your church, the influences in your church. That's what I'm more concerned about. And so for us, it's not an issue. For other churches, it very well could be. So if we had a large segment of our people that had escaped, say, an abusive church, and were singing those songs, it might be time to revisit whether or not we should be singing those songs that church wrote, because we know that they've been traumatized by that, and maybe they're going to be compelled to go back to it, or I don't know. So there are some caveats in there, but I don't think giving somebody money for something that they produce because they might use it in an ungodly way has anything to do with me. That's my take. I could be wrong.
So I want you to know, you convinced me before I even got to say my answer.
Well, good. You didn't embarrass yourself.
You convinced me. Because I had gone into this episode thinking, I had not considered like the financially supporting financially supporting that individual.
Because it doesn't feel right. Like,
it doesn't feel right, because I feel like, all right, because here's the worldly part of me. I'll vote with my money.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm not going to support. We do that as a church. We're like, they're trying to cancel My Pillow. Those liberals, go buy My Pillow.
First of all, we don't have anything. Our church. What are you talking about? We
do
that as a church.
I'm talking about like. Sorry, that was more Republican.
I know that's your second church, Jimmy. Okay,
but like, hey, go Chick-fil-A, support Chick-fil-A.
Right.
Like we vote, we support financially these groups or causes that are important to us.
We do like to support people that we agree with, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
So
that's
then in
great.
my mind, I'm like, oh well. If I'm supporting them, if I'm giving them money, but you convinced me. Well, before I even got to say my thought,
I could be wrong.
You could be, but if you are, I'm with you, Ryan. That's all I got to say.
Well, listen, we love when you guys send us emails. We love the messages, and we read them all. We cannot respond to them all. I'm so sorry. We get too many, but we really appreciate it. We love that you listen. We're so grateful that you tell your friends to listen. And that's one of the great ways that you can support the podcast, right? Maybe you can't sign up for all access. You can tell your friends to listen. Spread the word. Let them know. If they like fun and they like good theology, then this is for them. If they only like good theology, but they don't like fun, then maybe they won't like it.
They won't like this.
But thank you, especially to those of you who are signing up for all access, because it's going to allow us to do more things coming up in the near future that we're really excited about. So stay tuned for that. But we love that you're subscribing to the all access, where we give you devotions 5 days a week. We give you an extra podcast called Banter of Truth, and there's going to be some more stuff coming.
I'm about to say that because I'm going to go through my spiel.
But I wanted to say it my way.
I'm going to go through my spiel, and at the end it says it.
Yeah, but
so
I'm
like
not, I'm not doing a spiel. You're doing a spiel. You do a spiel.
No,
I speak from the heart. I speak from the heart.
It's from my heart, too.
I speak extemporaneously, like Spurgeon said.
I want you guys to hear
me.
me.
You read prayers like a Lutheran.
I just want you guys to hear what I have to say right now.
Okay.
I'm just going to say. Hey. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram and Twitter at DocAdevo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast. You have the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. We got that fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. We got that blog post and video content over the website. And you know what? Since you hadn't heard about it yet, I'm going to tell you about it now. We got that all access exclusive content. We got Banter of Truth on Tuesday. We got Weekday Wisdom Monday through Friday. Head on over to doctrineanddevotion.com /all access and register today. Later.